What's going on? It's your Counselor Polly Rob. Make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all showing me love on my YouTube channel. Now, I'm about to get mad. I'm about to get mad. Marvel fans, what's wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? Marvel's Ironheart is fire. Ironheart is fire. I'm going to explain why. But first, I'm going to say, what's wrong with y'all? When did comic book fans become so bougie? When did y'all become such a everything gotta be in game? Everything gotta be the Avengers. Why y'all so bougie? What's wrong with y'all? Relax. Relax. If I don't know what I'm talking about, we just got the series, 3 episodes of the series of Marvel's Ironheart, where Riri Williams is playing Ironheart. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be angry and upset and happy at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. So they just dropped it on Disney Plus. Their layout of giving us this series, because this series has been recorded a long time ago. It was done like 3-4 years ago. So now they're giving it to us because, of course they feel like with Avengers Doomsday and everything happening with Doctor Doom, they wanted to introduce some elements that's needed in order for us to understand where Doomsday is going to go. You know what I mean? So they decided to give us the episodes in 3 episodes apiece. So 3 episodes this week, and then next week we'll get the other 3 episodes. So we'll be able to get the entire season really, really quick. And it's needed, you know what I mean? So I'm not giving no spoilers or nothing like that, but I do want to talk about why I think this series is important, and also why I think that Marvel fans are being a little bit too bougie on the series that they pick. I'm not saying that Marvel don't miss the mark sometimes. For sure, they do that. You know what I mean? And if you want to say Phase 4 was the weakest phase, however you want to say it, that's cool. But I think it's a couple of things that you guys are missing when Marvel's creating these type of series, and I want to go over that first before I talk about just what I feel about this Ironheart series. So really quick, if you're a comic book fan, whether you're a real comic book fan or you just glazed over comic books as a kid, the one thing you have to remember is comic books are a reflection of the things that's happening in our time. The reason why we got certain characters, not just because the animators and the artists are just great at building characters, they grab inspiration from things that was happening in our time. There was a time where America wasn't so proud. It was a lot of things going on. You know what I mean? There's a lot of poverty. You know what I mean? A lot of hardships. A lot of wars going on. You get Captain America. There was a time where, black people wasn't respected the way we should have been. It was racism. It was, so many talks about, Africa and where it stands along with the rest of the world and so many things. Then you get Black Panther. Spider-Man, a representation of a kid that's trying to go to school, trying to learn something, but also want to help change his neighborhood. You get Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Usually, comic book characters not only have the ability to save people, which that's the bottom line of comics, is being able to help and save people, but a lot of their powers and a lot of their strengths are reflections of things that either the artist or the writer of the comic books felt like society lacked or people in society lacked. You know what I mean? If they lacked motivation and confidence, they would implement that into a comic book character so you can, feel more good about yourself. if there was a time in a situation where kids were going astray, or dealing with mental issues, it would be a comic book character that reflected that. It's always been like that. Sentry. You know what I mean? The Hulk. The Hulk. The character of the Hulk is based on someone having so much rage and not being able to control it. So they made the Hulk to talk about those type of energies and those type of problems, and then find a way for somebody like Bruce Banner to be able to balance between being ultimately strong and angry, to know how to blend together and calm that down. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's what comic book characters are for. It's to help us deal with the things that we have going on. Now, fast forward to now. You have to also realize that as much as we love, excuse me, as much as we love a comic book character to stay true to form, we do have to realize that times change, society changes, the way people look at other people changes. A lot of things change, so they modify certain characters and certain storylines to fit the narrative of what's happening now. You know what I mean? Back in the days when it was racism, you know what I'm saying, the minorities weren't being respected. It was a lot of things going on. It has now changed. Not changed all the way, but a little bit has changed. So now they're accepting more black comic book characters more than ever. You know what I mean? They beforehand, in years past, you know what I'm saying, being homosexual or LGBTQ, however you want to call it, was not accepted back then. Now it's a lot more accepted now than it is back then. So certain characters that may have had a question mark on whether they were LGBTQ or not, now they're like, okay, we might change the storyline a little bit to where they are in this today's age. That's okay. We have a vast variety of different types of people. It's human nature. It's what it is. So the directors, the writers of Marvel, they're going to twist and change certain things to fit those narratives. You know what I mean? Miss Marvel coming from Indian background. That's a thing. They need a superhero too. You know what I mean? It's like, so I want y'all to understand that when y'all judge the authenticity of a certain type of comic book character or storyline, first ask yourself, what angle are they coming from? Are they just trying to keep it true to the original storyline? Or are they blending storylines, you know what I'm saying, to fit something that's happening today? You feel what I'm saying? Also, on top of that, blending storylines. When they tell these newer stories through Disney Plus or the movies and things like that, you have to realize that they can't tell all the stories in the comic book, so they might be blending certain storylines from this version of the comics or this version of the comics. That's how they decide which are the best stories to tell. They do that. And then on top of that, the MCU is its own universe. Everybody knows that. So they're going to tell stories for the MCU that's of course relative to the comic books, because you want to stay as authentic as possible. But they're going to change some things. They're going to change some things to fit all of these different storylines and scenarios into one universe. It has to be cohesive. Even with the implementation of the multiverse, they still have to tell the story in a certain way so things can be cohesive within a timeline. That's okay. So sometimes you're not going to get certain narratives true to the thought of the comics. Sometimes you're going to get something different. Now, let's get to Ironheart. Now, Ironheart, is a show that I'm going to be perfectly honest. It is a show that is more relative to black people than anything. Now, I'm not saying everybody can enjoy it, but what I am saying is that there's certain nuances and certain things that if you know black culture, if you've been embedded in black culture, if you're from black culture, you'll understand and you'll get it. It's just what it is. Sorry. And that's just like any other culture. If you're embedded in a certain type of culture, you might get certain nuances that other cultures won't. Riri Williams, black woman. There's a different spin on how she's approaching being a superhero. It's like Iron Man, but she's coming from a poverty-stricken situation. She's coming from Chicago. She's a very smart woman, but she don't have the money that Tony Stark's had to fulfill her dreams of what she wants to do. She wants to build the suit, but she don't have no money. So that's the main storyline of Ironheart, is trying to be great with the lack of resources. Trying to be great with the lack of resources. What that sound like? That sound like my life? That sound like my brother's life, my sister, my cousins, my friends? That sound like our lives. It's been so many times where I want to do something or I want to be great at something, but I didn't have the money for it. Me as a producer and an engineer, I didn't always have money to buy equipment, to buy software, to buy MPC, to buy a Triton keyboard, to buy that. I don't have no money for that. So I identify with Riri Williams of trying to be great, going to the scrapyard to get scraps, trying to figure out the best play and the best move possible, trying to get into the highest school so you can get funding to be able to fund your dreams. I understand that. There's characters in the Ironheart show, aside from the storyline, there's characters there, and I'm not going to give it away. I want y'all to watch it. I want y'all to go watch it. There's characters in the storyline that are relative to the type of people that we see in our society. The young kid that's a hustler. The best friend who's always jittery and happy. The family member that's just trying to make ends meet, trying to figure it out. These are things that happen now to this day. The directors, Ryan Coogler and other directors, and shout out to the other directors. I don't know your names. I got to do my research. But shout out to y'all. Shout out to the writers. They're putting this storyline, it's a part of the MCU, but it's also in the context of what happens in society today, especially in poverty-stricken neighborhoods. And if you're not of urban culture or black culture or whatnot, if you're from another culture but you understand poverty-stricken situations, then you understand. Then you should have a level of appreciation for that. And my Marvel fans, come on, man, especially my comic book fans. All comic book fans do not come from privileged positions. So you should understand that it's different sometimes. I remember I used to go to the corner store to go get a comic book. I didn't have $1.99, $2.99. Or I had $5. I had to figure out if me and my brother was going to eat, or I was going to get a comic and then we split a slice of pizza, trying to figure it out. So these comic book fans that's looking at the MCU like everything got to be all here, the action got to be top notch, it got to be so much all the way up here like the Avengers. Hey, man, stop that. Because if you're a real comic book fan, if you're a real fan of superheroes, you know more than I do that some issues of comics was to the roof, and then some issues were dead as hell. Some issues, it was so much talking, you like, where the action at? Where the fire? Where's the The fights, some issues, it was just so much dialogue setting it up. So I don't understand why y'all think that everything just got to be this blown on conclusion. Let them set it up. Let them put it together. Let them put it together. You're only paying $7,999 for the app. Relax. Let them set it up. You want Avengers Doomsday to be the greatest? Let these other series set it up. Ironheart is fire. Another storyline from the Hood's perspective. The Hood, which is the villain. Also poor, poverty stricken, didn't have no power, always being laughed at. Got an opportunity to get some power. Took it on. Probably made a bad mistake. But for right now, we're going to make it do what it do. We're going to make it do what it do. Rob Peter to pay Paul. Do some strange things for a piece of change. You know what I'm saying? Doing wrong to do right. We know this type of language. You know why? It's because we come from these poverty-stricken neighborhoods. And if you haven't come from these neighborhoods, then really watch the show and take note that these things happen in our society. And I'm not trying to be political because this is entertainment. But I want y'all to understand that these writers are not just pulling from the comic books, y'all. Come on, man. They pulling from real life. The slang that they use, real life. The way people deal with business, the way they deal with learning something new, the way they deal with their emotions. They pulling from life. Let them do that. Stop trying to have everything just superficial and it's like whatever. Let them put a little sprinkle of realism a part of it. Let them do that. Like I said, I'm not giving away the spoilers, but I want y'all to understand that let the story build. Even with Riri trying to build the suit, trying to build the AI, trying to make something better than somebody who has all the money in the world. Try to continue the legacy with next to nothing. Trying to continue the legacy of somebody who had everything. What are we talking about, y'all? What are we talking about? I want y'all to understand that, first off, Ironheart is a great series. Y'all could disagree with me if y'all want. That's up to y'all. But I want y'all to understand that some series are coming from a different perspective. And give it a chance. Give these things a chance. Those first 3 episodes, low-key had me on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. And then the last thing before I get out of here. The battle between Ironheart and the Hood and all of the powers that each other has, they're getting to a point where they're going to show you, before you get to Doomsday, they're going to show you how technology and magic works. They're going to show you how they're going to implement technology in magic. Who is Doomsday? Where does this power come from? The combination between technology and magic. So they're just giving you a small portion of what's to come. What do y'all want? What do y'all want them to do? Y'all want them to just drop a Doctor Doom Easter egg and just have Doctor Doom come out on the show? Is that what y'all want? Come on, man. Be real fans, real Marvel fans, real comic book fans, and real fans, and let these type of shows build. Let these shows build. Let them do what they came here to do, man. Comic books have come a long way. Comic book movies, comic book TV series have come a long way. Appreciate what they're trying to give you. Do you want to judge them the way you want to judge them? For sure. But don't negate the fact that they're trying to combine storylines from comics and realism from real life. That's how it applies to you the best for the best reasons, is because it feels like it's right next to you. That's why the Marvel universe is so great. Is because it feels like it's right next to you. We got an Elon Musk in the comics. We got a Donald Trump in the comics. We got Farrakhan in the comics. We got so many people that we can reference in real life that we can attach to somebody else in the comics. That's the beauty of comics. Is it reflects the things that's happening in today's time, along with the magical, superior, superpower, cosmic entities. Along with all of that, it lets us feel connected to the things that we probably don't even know exist yet. That's why I started reading comics. Is because it helped my brain. It helped me get into another spectrum of how to see life. And that's what I appreciate about comics. And I think that Ironheart is a great show to lead us down the path to another great phase. In my opinion, I think we're due for another great phase. So let me know what y'all think about Ironheart. Give it a honest watch. Stop trying to compare it to all the greatest Marvel series and all the greatest Marvel shows. Stop doing that. Watch Ironheart for Ironheart. If you don't know about the backstory, do your homework on the backstory before you watch Ironheart. But watch it for what it is and what it will become. Because it will become something that's great that leads us into something greater. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. You know, I appreciate y'all showing love. And you know, I'm passionate about my comic book stuff, man. I'm gonna be showing more of this on my page. But I'm sorry, I'm passionate about my comic book stuff, man. It's real. Let me know what it is, man. Work low.